everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Weight Loss Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Carl, and I hope you're having a fantastic start to the new year. Today, I'm joined by special guest Di, who is from South Wales and has lost an incredible 12.5 stone on her weight loss journey, and is here today to tell me more about how she's done that and how her life has changed as a result. Di, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
You're very welcome. And, having discovered your account and how you've lost the weight, it's good to have somebody on the show who isn't from Slimming World or isn't from calorie counting specifically, because of the fact that I think the show it's important to give people that range of opportunity to decide what works for them. And not only that, having looked at the method that you follow, I think it's a very healthy way of losing weight, to the point where, I think it's got all the right components to lose weight in a healthy way. So before we get into that, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, please?
Yeah, so I'm 49. I hit the big 50 in May, which was one of my sort of, I don't know, is it a goal? I don't know. I suppose so, to be as happy, healthy, and as fit and strong as I can by the time I reach 50. I'm married, no children, but I've got two little doggies, a Springer Spaniel called Riley and a gorgeous little cockapoo who's a pain in the butt, but she's lovely, called Doris. I'm chief executive of a charity called Follow Your Dreams. It's a national charity in England and Wales, which supports children and young people with learning disabilities to do just that, to follow their dreams. So that's pretty much me and what I'm about at the moment.
Thank you. And having spoken to you a little before we hit record today, I know that the charity work that you do is absolutely amazing, and you've got a very big event coming up very soon in which a number of children and families will get to spend some time together and relax and enjoy themselves.
Absolutely, yeah. It's quite weird actually, because 6 years ago, so 4 years ago, we took about 30 families to Bluestone in West Wales for a week away, just a week away in normality and something nice to do where everybody got each other, and, everybody's got kids with learning disabilities, and we just all felt happy together. 2 years ago then, just as lockdown was starting to release, we had some of the precautions still in place, but I managed to get fundraising done to take 111 families. So we'd increased quite dramatically. And when I stood on that stage back then 2 years ago, I remember saying, I'm going to come back in 2 years and make this as big as I possibly can. And this year we're taking over 280 families. So it's going to be absolutely huge. We've got a huge bank of volunteers and people supporting from all over the country that coming along to entertain and everything. But do you know what? What's quite weird was I stood on that stage, the heaviest that I've ever been. And I really struggled in that week. And when you see the photographs as well from that week of, times that were brilliant, because it was such an amazing week. We'd just come out of lockdown. We were all together. We were happy. We couldn't hug. We weren't allowed to hug still at that stage with the restrictions that were in place. So we were all wearing badges. But, you felt the love around, you were seeing people off screen for the first time. We'd done, I think it was something like over 1,100 Zoom sessions with the children in lockdown. We'd sent out over 20,000 activity packs. And I'm talking like me and a handful of volunteers. Standing there amongst all this in the proudest time of your life and seeing these amazing photographs with children and everything. I was happy. I was always smiling, but I was so overweight and everything was such an effort. And getting down to the level of a child in a wheelchair was a struggle. Squatting down to be in a photograph was a struggle. Jumping up on stage, couldn't do that. Walking, couldn't do it without a buggy. It was impossible. And that was one of the things that sort of got me on this road. So it's just amazing how everything links together, and to have people as well on, from the charity that also do this plan now is just surreal.
It's incredible. And I mean, first of all, congratulations for all the work that you do to help these families and children. It sounds amazing. And to go from 30 families originally to 280 plus, it's breathtaking. So I can only imagine as well for you, being able to do this very, very soon, but 12.5 stone lighter is just going to add even more magic and make it even more special when you
It,
come to do it.
yeah, it's madness. I mean, just like putting photographs on something today, and just seeing the difference. And they say you're was the first to notice, and then other people start to notice weight loss. I think you're the last to notice, to be perfectly honest, or the last to maybe accept the weight loss that you've had.
That's
But
it. I
yeah,
think,
I've had, like, one of the mums messaged me and said, "Oh, Di," she said, I was showing Alice a photograph of you to remind her, because they with learning disabilities, it's good to show them in advance pictures, and they relate
mhm.
to that, especially if they're non-communicative, or we use Makaton sign language and stuff for the charity. But yeah, and she said I was showing her photo and everything. And I need a new photo of you because it doesn't even look like you, and it's madness to think that it's going to be quite an emotional moment to just go back to sort of where all this belong and just think, wow, I
Of
did what I
course.
wanted to achieve for the charity and made that bigger and better, but I made me smaller and better, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a great way to look at it. So, Di, if you don't mind me asking, what led to you being as overweight as you were? How long had you struggled with your weight? What was it for you that created those problems before you made the decision to lose weight?
I think it'd been years on years of sort of failing at different things. So I tried various different plans and stuff, and I'd lose a bit of weight, and then something would happen. There'd always be something which just completely ruined it. Um, and just made me start sort of, just piling the weight back on. I think every time you restart, you've just put so much more weight on, and you've got that bit older, which I think makes it harder again to lose weight. It was much easier when I was in my teens and my 20s and stuff, and I wish I'd stuck to it, back then. But yeah, there were a couple of different things. I mean, the struggling at Bluestone was one of the things that I identified with. Um, one of the big things for me was, we were at a funeral for a family member, one of my family's family members, and just seeing how difficult they were carrying his coffin, because he was a big bloke and he died quite young, very young, of heart problems. But do you know what? I don't want the last image of me, which I really felt like I was on my way to, like, I don't know how long I'm going to live like this. I'm just
Okay.
putting weight on. I'm putting these pounds on. I'm putting these stones on. I'm getting bigger and bigger and bigger. How long can I actually survive this? It's inevitable. I'm not going to live a very, very long life. And I watched his coffin being carried, and I thought, do you know what, Di? You've done all this good in the world. You've done, you have helped not hundred, thousands of families and that, and put, them first all the time. And, you've given up everything. I gave up 3 years of my life during COVID just to 24/7 support people. Christmas Day, I was supporting people. New Year's Eve, I was supporting people. I've done that. I didn't want the lasting memories of people, of Di or Diana, whoever I'm known as to them, to be the fat one getting carried out in that coffin, the way people were struggling just to hold her. Can you imagine if that's like
It's a powerful
the
image you've just created there, Di.
final memory of you, is that they forget about then, all the good you've done in the world, and all the love you've given, and the times, there's been a child in hospital, and I've darted there to be with them. And that wouldn't matter. That the final image of them, of me, would be, me being carried out and being really struggled, and a huge
Hmm.
coffin, and what do we put her in, and it was all those images to me. And I just thought, I've got to do something to really stop this. I've got to at least try. And I keep saying to people now, even if I die today, because anything can happen, can't it? I could get knocked down by a bus today. I want my gravestone to say, at least she tried. And I feel like now I've tried, I'm making that effort. I've changed my life considerably. I feel like I've got a life back now. I felt like I was just destined for death.
Wow. And that's quite a scary thought, isn't it? But the realization of it, I think, is sometimes even worse, because we live quite often avoiding it or turning a blind eye to the reality of it. Sometimes because we don't feel capable of actually managing it, the truth, and
Yeah.
having that honest conversation. Sometimes it could be a situation in which we're almost ignorant to the dangers of being overweight and the damage that we're doing to ourselves. But I think in this situation, you obviously saw almost like into the future, into your own future, albeit your final resting place and your funeral, and didn't want it to either be happening as soon as that or in the way that it was happening. And I wanted to ask you, as I was listening to you say that, it sounds that it shocked you and scared you into it. But what was it in your case, Di, that led you to being overweight? Do you think? What is it you struggle with? And the reason I ask this is, and I say it with complete respect, but it sounds as though you're someone who has to be very organized in your work life, that
Mhm.
you have so many things going on, that you are on the ball, on top of everything, and do that. But it sounds as though this area of your life was the one that you couldn't crack until recently.
Yeah, I think because I always thought that I had to be helping other people first. So I've
Okay.
always been there for everyone else, before myself. And it suddenly twigged to me. Somebody said to me, there were a couple of scenarios that people sort of say to you after you start thinking about these things, but like the one where you're on a plane, the plane is going to crash land type of thing. If you don't get the oxygen, you can't help other people. So you've
Mm.
got to put yourself first. You've got to, start taking care of yourself to help others. And it did sort of twig to me that, hang on a minute, what happens now if I'm not here? Who's going to look after all these kids? Because during lockdown, no word of a lie, nobody looked after children with learning disabilities. They were honestly cast off in society. Day centres were closed down, schools were obviously closed down. These kids have got no provision whatsoever at home and stuff, and just nobody looked after them. And I thought, well, I got quite upset about it, thinking, well, I've got all these people and all these families saying, "Oh my God, this is amazing, this is great." What happens if I'm suddenly gone? Who's going to do that? Who's going to lead my charity to do that now going on? And it really hit me for six that, do you know what? It's not selfish at all. I've always thought self-care to be incredibly selfish. It's not. You have to put yourself first to be able to help yourself and then help others. And honestly, I've learned so much now about that. And it's been a hard ride as well. It's really not an easy thing, because you can upset people along the way as well. You can get people that say, oh, oh, you're going to the gym again. Oh, you're doing this. Oh, you can't come out for a meal with us and celebrate because you're only eating this or you're only doing that. And I've had to stick firm and say, well, no, I'm doing this for me. This is what I am now. I've changed my life. This is me. And you've either got to accept me or it's goodbye. And
Yeah.
even if that's family members and close friends and people I really love and care for, if they don't understand this is what I have to do for myself, because quite frankly, like I said before, I'm going to be dead if I don't. So you've
Hmm.
got that choice. You either go along with me or you don't.
And I think with that, Di, it's something that I've learned, because I last year started being coached as part of my own journey to become a coach. I wanted to start working on myself as well. And the one thing I had in my way a lot of the time was fear of judgment, what others might say if I do certain things. And I was given the question that the people I'm trying to help, or the people I want to help, if I don't get out of my own way, am I not being selfish by not helping those people who need my help? And I saw it all of a sudden from a completely different perspective. Instead of me being worried about what someone else might say about something that I want to do to help others, what about the people that need the help? What about the people who I can help? And quite honestly, screw the rest of them. Because if
Yeah,
they can't be on side with you and see that you're trying to improve yourself and make your life better, and unfortunately for some people, they see it in conflict with their own beliefs and values, or they feel that it's personal against them, and it's really not the case. It's about you on a mission to make yourself better, which has enabled you now to help even more people in the work that you do, which I
absolutely.
think is such a great thing. It really is. So well done to you for that, Di. I mean it, because I think it takes a lot of courage to do that. And
Mhm.
why don't we talk a bit about how you actually lost the weight? I think that'd be a really interesting topic to get into. So would you like to give us an overview of how you decided how you were going to lose weight and the method itself?
Yeah, so I tried honestly, if there's a plan out there, if there's a diet out there, I've tried it. So Slimming World, I had gone to, I don't know, I think probably I've rejoined more than 20 times, probably under more than a dozen, if not a lot more than that, consultants in my time. I'd done Weight Watchers, I'd done Herbalife, worst thing ever. Honest to God, for me, that it's
My mum
completely.
says the same.
Oh my word! I'd lost weight on Slimming World, joined a gym. This is about 11 years ago, I think it is now. Joined a gym. They signed me up to Herbalife. Worst thing ever, because it completely ruined my relationship with food. You
Mm.
cannot drink food for the rest of your life. I'm sorry, anyone that thinks you can drink food for the rest of your life. When you get to 90, 100 years of age, and you have to then because you can't digest food properly, fine, fair enough. But not at 20, 30, 40, 50 years of age. You should not be, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be
No,
eating
and
like
do you
that.
know the thing that I remember distinctly when my
Mm,
mum was doing Herbalife was I knew it was almost time that she was going to have to drink her shake because she'd like go off into the kitchen. You'd hear her mixing it, and then there'd just be silence for a while, and she had to
mm,
like almost like psych herself up to drink it
yeah, it's
because it was just
gagging. It's
exactly
gagging.
that,
It's
and
disgusting.
it's like quite a
Yeah,
large, like drinking a pint of the stuff,
yeah.
and
Well, I was
it just
trying to
made her miserable.
Yeah, I was actually trying to change because I think there was something like vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate flavor. I think that might
Yep.
have been banana as well. And I was trying to make bacon and egg flavor because my head is saying, I want food. I don't want drink. I want food. And then it's just complete. I cannot touch a shake now. Even though on the plan
No,
I'm
no, no, no.
doing now, there are shakes and there are really good sort of, smoothies and stuff. I cannot drink them. I
No,
cannot.
and I
I've got
understand that. And the
massive
Herbalife,
psychological issue with it.
it may have changed in recent years, but I just remember I was like, oh, it tastes like cardboard,
Yeah,
and her just being absolutely fed up with it. So
yeah.
that's
So,
what
yeah,
didn't work for you.
yeah, I've done stuff like that, slim fast, meal replacements, even the cabbage diet. I tried that once. That is not a nice thing at all. But if it was there, I was trying to. Doctor recommended me to 5-2 as well. Had some good results with that to start, but then emotionally and my brain, my headaches, my migraines were just absolutely awful. So had to change that up. And yeah, and I sort of sat on the fence a little while during lockdown, where, bearing in mind now I'm in this room for 2.5, nearly 3 years of not moving. So I would sit at this screen delivering constant sessions from 8 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, helping children keep active and busy and wait, even things like gym classes and fitness and dance and stuff like that. But I'm sat here and,
Mhm.
I'd reach for, like a packet of biscuits or something and think, oh, I'll have a biscuit. It's snack time now. And then suddenly they're all gone. And it's like, well, where have they gone? The dog must have eaten them because I don't remember eating them. And it's like, well, and that kept happening. So I was having meals and I was having snacks and just munching my way through it and getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And, just literally couldn't move. So yeah, so I sort of followed Gregg Wallace, obviously big TV personality on his Instagram for a while, and he was talking about a plan that he'd created, and I sat on the fence with this for probably about a year of just like looking and thinking, oh, this looks all right, but oh, is it another celebrity fad diet? They all jump on it to make some money and stuff, and I just kept thinking, well, it sounds all right. It sounds like it's something I would be interested in. And then I thought one day, well, what the hell am I waiting for? It was £7 a month at the time to join. £7, I pay that for a decent coffee type of thing now.
Mhm.
And it's like, come on, Di, just do it. So I joined, and again, I sat in the Facebook group for about a month watching what people were eating and doing. And then I thought, yeah, do you know what? I think this is for me. And I just jumped in and thought, that is it now. I'm committing to this. I like it. I like the sound of it. And I've never looked back. It has absolutely changed my life. So it was a plan called Show Me Fit, but people sort of didn't like that name because the fitness, people don't like diet associated with the whole fitness world and stuff, even though ultimately that's what the plan has done. It's shown me how to get fit ultimately, because I've never been healthier and fitter in my life before. But yeah, so it's changed now to a program called Gregg Wallace Health. And yeah, it's doing really well. But it's completely changed my whole mindset towards food, my whole relationship towards food. Things like, for instance, on Slimming World, the whole avocado debate, where an avocado is so bad for you with so many different sins and that. And it's like, they're really good for you. And olive oil is really good for you. And coconut oil is really good for you. They're not, the bad things, the bad oils that, they're telling you it is. So yeah, so it's a brilliant plan, which is essentially 3 healthy meals a day, which you cook from scratch. There's no buying in boxes or anything or freezer meals. It's literally all cooked from scratch, which has absolutely saved a fortune because you're just cooking those 3 meals. And they're not meals you might think, oh, Gregg Wallace, he's on the TV, he's on all the chefy programs and that. They're going to be really intricate, detailed things that'll take you hours to cook. They're not. Most of the recipes have got like 6 to 8 ingredients. They're all stuff that's in your store cupboard anyway, or you just build up. You build up your spice rack and your herbs. They don't use all the fancy fresh stuff if you don't want to. Use your dried herbs. And, Anna, Gregg's wife, shops in Aldi. So nothing is out of range for anyone. And I've saved an absolute fortune, but it was massive for me because the first thing you learn to do is to stop snacking.
Okay.
I snacked for like 48 years of my life. I've always snacked. I was brainwashed to snack from a child. We went to primary school and had milk for snacks at 10:30 in the morning, a biscuit and stuff like that. My entire day. Even all of the diet plans that I know encourage you to snack. You have your breakfast, you have a mid-morning snack, you have lunch, you have a mid-afternoon snack, you have dinner, you'll have an evening snack. The whole world seems to be focused on snacking right now. So this was massive for me to think, oh, hang on a minute, I've now got to stop snacking. I've now got to stop.
How was that for you, Di, if I can ask? Because I know for a lot of people, snack time, especially in the evenings, watching telly after dinner,
Mhm.
before bed, is a key moment. And from a psychological standpoint, a very, very difficult challenge to overcome because it can be out of boredom, it can be out of a number of different reasons. But a lot of the people I speak to through coaching, a lot of the guests that I've had on my show, it's that moment, those moments of snacking where you turn to comfort or it's avoidance, whatever it is, can be
Mm.
very difficult. So how did you overcome that?
What this plan has done, there's an amazing nutritionist. Her name is Kat. So she approves all the recipes. So even though Gregg and Anna are both chefs themselves, they create all the recipes and everything. Kat is a qualified nutritionist who checks them all for balance. So what you suddenly start learning is she teaches. We did a number of sort of live Zooms with her, and there's talks on the website, which gets you to understand why you're doing these things. So for me, it was a lot about mindset and things. It was a lot about putting mind over matter. It was about listening to my body and just generally asking myself, say it's 10:30 in the morning when I'd been used to having my morning snack, I had to ask myself, are you hungry? Why are you reaching for this snack? Are you actually hungry, or is it just your mind saying it's snack time? And the moment you start listening to your body, so we would do things like we would work on things like knowing when we were nearly full for a meal, because a lot of what I was doing was overeating, so portion control and stuff like that. So you get to know where it sort of trains you, if you like, to understand when I'm full or nearly full. You don't want to be completely full. You need to be nearly full because the balance of the meals, the protein and everything are going to take you along to your next meal anyway. You're going to get that bit fuller by your next meal. You don't need that snack in between then if you've got that right. And it can take some time. It probably took me, I want to say 3 weeks before I broke the snacking habit. And it is habit. But what I say to people is stop focusing on bad habits and focus on new habits, because it's about making those new habits. It's about me not saying about how I'm going to stop snacking. It's about me saying how I'm going to have 3 good, healthy meals a day that are going to fill me. And that's as
You,
simple as that.
you hit
It's
him the nail on the head.
completely, do you just see
Because
what I
we
mean?
live in the past, we live in the things we can't do, we live in the struggles that we have, as opposed to focusing on what we may be able to
What
do or
we
what we
can
can
do.
do. and it's so important. And this is something I teach as well with my coaching clients, because it's key. First of all, bring awareness to the bad habits that you have, because without that awareness, you
Yeah.
can't make a change to them. And then as soon as you've brought awareness to those habits, start understanding the cues and the cravings that you have. But instead of them following through on the normal habit loop that you have by taking action and eating something, you kind of interrupt. It's a pattern interrupt, and then you kind of replace it over time. And 3 weeks to stop snacking, I think, is absolutely fantastic. And it must have had such a big impact on your weight loss journey just by cutting out the snacks.
Yeah, it's
Um,
huge. And I mean, you then start looking at what you're saving financially, because these snacks are quite expensive. I could go into a pound shop and spend 40, £50 on rubbish. Then you start looking at this world that we live in now of super processed foods and thinking, I don't want to be eating that. And then then you start also listening to the evidence that's out there. Like, people will say to me now, well, it's good to snack on an apple. No, it's not good to snack on an apple, because all that's going to do is spike your blood sugar level. And you're going to probably want something more and something more. And that might get you back into wanting that chocolate biscuit. You are much better filling up on that meal. And when you think back, when I'm nearly 50 now. So when I think back to when I was a child, we used to share a chocolate bar between three of us, three kids. And that was a treat on a Friday night. Now you buy a multi-pack of, 4 chocolate bars, you have one each. Or I was having like the big, sort of dairy milk bar, which is now £1. It's cheaper to buy a huge one than it is, a small one now, which is nuts. But, and I eat that all to myself, and it's gone.
of
We're
course,
not sharing these things. If the word sharing is on the front, we ridicule that and say that these are not for sharing. These are
it's a
all
challenge, isn't it?
mine. So yeah, it
Family
was
pack. Yeah,
completely,
you watch me.
yeah, it was completely sort of turning all that on its head. It was also thinking of things that I could do with my hands, um, rather than eat. So things like knitting. I knitted a scarf. Oh my God, this scarf took me like 2 years to knit, but I finally did it. And, sort of focusing on the meals as well, not having them in front of the television and stuff. So having your meal at the table and properly enjoying it and properly enjoying each mouthful, because that can help you then recognize, oh, I'm nearly full now. I'm done. Thank you. And
Actually
also
focusing on it.
yeah, there's a huge psychological thing, I think, as well. Probably growing up in the sort of 70s and 80s, where you were brought up to finish your plate. You were, this was a thing that you had to do. Or you'd either get fed if, I'm not saying my parents were the best parents in the world, trust me, but you might be fed, you'd have the fear of being fed this for breakfast the following morning if you didn't eat and clear your plate. So there's always been that in me, I guess, that, that it felt like etiquette to do that. Even like, you see in restaurants and stuff, you think, oh, I don't want to leave that because I'm going to upset the chef. And yeah.
It just literally happened to me yesterday. It literally, and it's all of these things, like we're preconditioned to these things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for example, my wife didn't want to eat all of her meal. We went out for a nice, New Year's Day yesterday. We went out for a meal, and it was a big steak. My wife couldn't eat all of it, and I was like, "Well, don't waste it." And I wasn't full. I wasn't hungry. I was full. I didn't want to waste it because we'd paid
Waste.
for it. And you obviously, it's that moment, the awkward moment where the waiter comes over and said, "Oh, have you finished?" And they're kind of like, "Well, yeah, I've finished, but you've still got a load of food on your plate." Like, "Oh, was there something?" No, nothing's wrong. I'm just full. But it's that
Yeah.
kind of expectation and people pleasing that we try
Yeah.
and do, and it leads to
Yeah.
so much, so many problems we can face.
Yeah.
So basically, let me just summarize then, Dive, the plan, so as you've explained it so far. The key things: 3 healthy, freshly prepared meals a day,
Yeah.
working on mindset
Yeah.
and the reasons why you do things, and then you have access within the group, I guess, if you sign up as a member, to a community where you can support each other and help each other. Is that
Yeah,
right?
there's a truly fabulous Facebook community group, which there's someone there all of the time, because there are members from around the world and stuff, and there's someone there for you all the time. I mean, I'm obviously one of the key members now that supports others, and I have met people message me through Instagram and saying they've been inspired and just need that little bit of help. Some people can just get on it and do it straight away. Other people will need a little bit of support. I now do group coaching as well through it. just because I knew there were an element of people that did want that bit more support. They needed accountability and stuff. And like you said about being coached, I get coached now by a coach. I've got my mentor, Greg, and I've got a coach to coach me. So it's like, everybody needs a little bit, I think, of accountability if you can't be accountable to yourself, it's good to be, accountable to others and just to understand the whole process and stuff. But yeah, fabulous community. The information is insane. It's stuff that I never knew about. Nobody mentioned to me ever in my life about menopause. I wouldn't have had a clue really now, that I should be preparing for it, and this plan introduced me to what I should be doing and the way I should be eating to get me through this big time of my life that's coming up. It's huge. Nobody prepares you for that. It's like a taboo subject still,
Yeah, and it's
so
such a shame as well, because I think for so many women, if there's no preparation, and if there are things you can do to lessen the impacts because of the amount of hormonal changes your body will go through, the emotional changes, just dealing with the fact that you're reaching a different stage in your life. I think by not helping people prepare for that, it can come as more of a surprise and a shock and make it harder to deal with. And if managing your weight or being an emotional eater is something that you've struggled with anyway, this is almost like the perfect storm for it to get worse in that
absolutely.
moment.
Absolutely. And do you know what really frustrates and annoys me is that nobody in the medical profession ever tells you to lose weight. They won't tell you. They can tell you to give up smoking because that can kill you. They can tell you to give up drinking because that can ultimately kill you. And, food can ultimately kill you if you do it bad, but they cannot tell you to give up food. And I've been told this by a number of very senior medical people. And I said, well, surely if somebody had just told me, I had plantar fasciitis for a few years. I was under a consultant. If somebody had told me that losing weight would have stopped that, and it was debilitating. I couldn't move for days. As soon as an attack happened, it was in both feet. I could not walk for 2 days solid. And I would be in so much pain. I'd be crying myself to sleep trying to get out this pain. If somebody had said to me, Di, lose a few stones, there's a possibility. It's not always. Some people are very sporty and athletic and still get it. But, there's a chance, Di, if you do lose some weight, it could make it better for you. I would have done it. Would have given it a try. Nobody did.
But let me
And
ask you a
now I'm
question on that.
recovered. I have not had a single episode of that since before I started this journey.
And that's fantastic. And I don't want my next question to come across as confrontational. I think anyone who's a regular listener of the podcast, you'll know that I'm not like that at all. But my question is there, Di. Why do you think, if you were as overweight as you were and you were having health problems, why do you think you necessarily needed somebody else to say to you, you need to lose a few stone? Did you not connect it?
No, I didn't connect it with myself at all. Half the time you don't see it. Half the
Okay.
time you don't see the fact that you're destroying your life. You look in the mirror and I'm just seeing me. I'm not seeing this big person. And I think probably because of the nature of the work I do, the children I work with, they don't see big Di, small Di. They just see me as a person. I'm always a lovable, likable, kind person. And does it really matter what size I am? I don't know. I think I needed somebody to turn around and say to me, come on, lose some weight.
Okay. And the reason I ask you that, and thanks for the answer there, because for a lot of people, I think when they look in the mirror, they absolutely hate what they see.
Yeah.
And see all of the downsides. But then, as I mentioned earlier, the difficulty of tackling that just feels like too big of an objective to be able to do. And so instead of actually
Well,
looking at the way that they can do it.
I giggle because our nutritionist Kat came on to one of our Zooms before, and she said, right, what I want you to do is sort of strip completely naked and look at yourself in the mirror. It's like, what? Not doing that, It's like, no, come on. And I want you to feel those lumps and bumps because they're a part of you now. This is what you are, This is who you are. And I want you to feel those shoulders and think, do you know what? Those hack squats I'm doing, they're making these happen and that sort of thing, and start really appreciating that. And, oh, look, my tummy's going down because I'm eating really well. And, start listening and respecting what you've got a little bit and looking in that mirror and just seeing, yeah, this is the body I've got right now and I'm all right with that,
That's
I'm
great.
making
And
those changes.
And I think at any level, it's important to do that, because bringing awareness to it. But as I was saying, for people who currently struggle, or it's causing a depression,
Absolutely.
their size, the way they feel, the impact it has on their day-to-day life, relationships,
But
it can
what
be
happens,
just
you
too
see, I mean,
overwhelming.
I went through a quite a bad period of severe depression and anxiety. I was on very, very strong medication. I'd lost quite a lot of weight and had some issues and stuff ongoing. And then suddenly my dad got very, very poorly very quickly. And he'd always been quite a healthy, but he had high blood pressure, but he was ex-military, always on the go, always doing something, never really been ill at all. And suddenly got taken very poorly. And I spent, it's coming up to 8 years now next week. I spent 2 weeks on intensive care. I didn't move basically from his bedside very little, an hour to go and change or something, and I was straight back there. Um, and in the end, he did pass away. And then I went down on quite a big spiral of depression and anxiety together. And they put me on these medications and stuff. And you know what? Then part of those, and I've realized recently with this, because I'm not a nervous person. I don't get nerves. I don't get excited anymore, because a lot of those medications have actually stripped that from me. I don't get those feelings, even though, I should be a bit nervous doing this for you today. I'm not. I should be nervous about things I've done recently. I haven't been. I don't get those feelings, because that is some of the side effects of that. So, and I think, oh, has that just sort of taken things away from me, my knowledge of stuff, my feeling of stuff, and that I'm just not. I just wasn't bothered. It's me. I'm just going to die anyway. So what's the point? You know.
Wow. Very, very difficult moments to go through, and I'm glad that, you, despite all of that, have obviously been on such an amazing journey. So I think, Di, to start wrapping up, what I'd like to ask, I think 3 questions I've got for you left. First of all, what advice would you give to anybody who is starting the new year, wants to make changes, has maybe failed their weight loss attempts countless times in the past, tried every diet like you mentioned you had as well? What advice would you give to somebody in terms of making that difference and losing the weight that they want to?
For me, and it might sound quite harsh, is stop making excuses. Just absolutely stop making excuses. Because if you say, I had people about a week ago saying, oh, I need to do something about it, I'm going to do it in the new year. Why are you waiting till the new year for? Do it today. If you are going to change your life for the better, you've got to do it today. And I just think that is just, if you jump on it, honestly, this day could be all the difference to you, because you're going to feel so much better tomorrow. This plan, Gregg Wallace Health has just taught me that it's not all about the scales. It's not about chasing that next goal, that next stone figure on there. This is instantly feeling happier, healthier, and better in myself because of the foods that I'm eating. I had a massive Pepsi Max addiction. I was drinking 2 litres of the stuff every day, 14 quid, 15 quid a week on Pepsi Max cherry. I was addicted to it. I didn't know the side effects, the negative things about, diet drinks, carbonated drink. I don't drink any of that no more. I drink water. Sometimes I have squash, sometimes I have herbal teas and stuff. Completely and utterly life-changing. I went to the dentist recently. She said, Di, your teeth are so strong. I can see the difference. Teeth, you don't even think teeth being a consequence of good health and stuff, and that's been really good. So just get on and do it. Trust in the people that are out there that are saying, I've done it. I think social media have made things worse. I mean, I'm constantly told off by things like Instagram for raising expectations and of weight loss. And I'll get the odd message from them to say, you can't say that, you can't do that. I'm like, hang on a minute, I've lost this weight. I have done it. I'm proof. These are my photos. They're nobody else's. This is me. I'm showing you that I have done it, but I am fully aware that the media and stuff have exploited some people. My friend's weight loss photos landed up on some diet pill brand, so
Yeah,
you
this is
have got to
happening a
be
lot.
a little bit careful. But I'm me, and I have done it with this plan, and I can show you, sort of how to do it successfully and stuff. But yeah, I think and something I've learned, I mean, I sort of plateaued when I got to about 8 stone, and I needed to really sort of change things up a little bit. And I sort of got thinking then about being a little bit more calorie aware, and needed to just change things completely. I'd been doing 3 months of what they call it, it's like a hit sort of fitness,
Hmm.
CrossFit. And then I was told by our nutritionist, approaching 50 is not the best type of exercise for you. You need to be lifting. You need to be strength training. I said, what? I'm not doing that. I'm nearly 50 years of age now. No, that's not going to happen. I thought, okay, maybe you've got to start listening to people that know a bit about what they're talking about, rather than just have this sort of, no, can't do that. And I remember joining the gym, and I joined up, and oh my God, I was petrified to walk through those doors. Absolutely. The number of times I turned up there and I thought, no, I can't do it. Can't do it. Just drove away. And that was probably 6 months of doing that. I then found a personal trainer, and I remember turning up to my first session with him, and I thought, oh my God, he's just out of school. He's very young, he's young enough to be my grandson type of thing. What am I doing? This is just madness now. But do you know what? I really quickly learned that he knew so much about this, so much about exercise and fitness and nutrition and linking that in, and strength training and mindset and confidence building and stuff. And the things this guy gets me doing, I honestly, I just don't know how I do it. Honestly, it's surreal. He's just brought me on so well. And he's taught me as well about things like, I've always thought you needed to be motivated to lose weight, motivated to go to the gym each day, motivated to do your steps each day. And he said, nothing to do with motivation, it's discipline. And
Correct.
as
I agree.
soon as you change your mindset to, like, it's not about wanting to do this, it's about, I remember messaging him one night. His name's Christian Cox. He's at a PT at my local gym. And I remember messaging him, and I said, oh, Chris, I've had the most awful day. I haven't stopped working all day. This is 9 o'clock at night. And I'm messaging him, this poor guy. And it's like, what do? I just don't think I'm going to do my 10,000 steps today. I said, I don't suppose that's okay, is it? And he said, no, get on and do them. And it's like, whoa, this is like a whole new attitude to me of like complete and utter change. And suddenly it started kicking in a little bit that you've just got to get on and do it. If you want to change your life, you've just got to get on and do it. And I've adapted that to most things. I mean, I'm lifting weights like deadlifts at 107.5 kilograms at 49
Good
years of
for
age.
you.
They're
Di,
honestly,
amazing.
do you know when you probably would never feel this, but most women I think would get this, especially overweight women would feel it. And I'm still, a big girl in the gym. I'm not, when you see some of them in there, and I'm probably one of the biggest still in the gym. And you feel like everyone's looking at you, like, oh my God, look at her, in the gym, look at her. And he says to me, Di, he said, they're not looking at you like that. They are looking at you like, look how blooming strong she is lifting that. And I've had guys now come up and say, wow, you are lifting strong. I did a leg press last week, 230 kilogram of plates on a machine that always weighs 70 something kilograms, 300 kilogram leg press at 49. It's like,
That's incredible, Di. Wow.
it's life
Amazing.
changing. And all this is doing is getting me stronger and better, and my bones are getting stronger, and my body is getting stronger. And I just feel like super energized now that, there is no way. My gym is Snap Fitness in Pontyclean, and it's right next door to McDonald's. So literally, you drive out, and nothing in this world would make me ever drive in that place and buy anything there, because the work you've just put in, why would you then go and undo it?
Of course.
And you
And
want
the
to
thing is,
tell them all.
it sounds like you've got that sorted in terms of a mindset, but I know for a fact so many of my listeners do struggle with that, and building that resilience and strength, and especially at the beginning, and especially if you've had years of struggling and finding it difficult. But it sounds as though your journey, you've cracked it. You have managed to turn that corner and turn that page to a life that is much better. You seem to have like a very, very strong mindset, which is
Yeah.
fantastic.
I
And
mean,
the work you're doing in the gym, amazing.
some of the thing as well that I was taught with this, and I picked up on quite quickly, was my meals now are non-negotiable. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner are planned a week in advance, and they're shopped
Okay.
for. The food is here. So therefore, now I was having, say, two, sometimes three takeaways a week because it was easy. I'd done a day's work. Oh, I can type in an app and my food will come in an hour. I can cook quicker than that, and I can cook way cheaper than that myself. Why would I do that? And
Of
the other
course.
thing I've done is made my gym sessions absolutely non-negotiable. They're like hospital appointments. So nobody is allowed to book stuff in my diary with, when there's a gym session in. It's one a day, 1 hour. That's it. You can have me for 23 hours a day. And like I said, at the start about I had to rethink my whole life about putting myself first. I'm putting myself first for that 1 hour a day plus my meals. You are welcome to any other time after that you can have. But these are my time that I need for me and for you. Do you see
Good
what I
for
mean?
you. Good for you. It's so important. And it's really inspiring hearing
Mm.
you talk like that, Di. It really is. And we are running out of time, unfortunately. But I'd love to know, first of all, I said I had 3 questions. That was
Mhm.
one of them, your advice. The second thing was if people are interested in the Gregg Wallace plan or to learn a bit more, because obviously you're a very strong advocate of that. You've lost 12.5 stone following it. And it sounds as though it is a very sensible and healthy approach to managing the way you eat and to losing weight. So if people would like more information about that, what would you suggest?
So there's a website, greggwallace.health, that all the information is on there. There are sample recipes that you can try and give a go. Look at my Instagram. I post every meal. So my Instagram, it was only ever intended to be a diary for me of a quick way of making me accountable and posting everything that I ate. And suddenly, you gain lots of followers because of that. It's never been about the followers as much to me as the support and my accountability. So have a look and just see, oh, these meals look, they're good meals. Then I've never felt, like I'm dieting. I don't feel deprived. I feel like I'm eating something new and something good and something different every single day of the week. And I'm eating the best possible stuff. So have a look there. Gregg does a live on Instagram every weekday morning at 7 o'clock, and he is such an inspiration. Honestly, he's mentored me through this, and he's become a good friend. I trust him, implicitly, and he's saved my life. And just to wake up in the morning, I mean, it's weird now because half the time I'm in the gym doing my steps and getting those in while I'm watching his live thing. And it's like I used to be in bed listening. That's how much I've changed now because of this. So it shows
Incredible.
what you can do to change your life. But just having that morning bit of inspiration and someone just saying to you, come on, guys, let's get up, let's do this, and he'll give some different tips and advice and stuff from his journey, or, different words of wisdom and stuff. And that can be really good as well. But yeah, just start by there and just dip your toes in and have a little look. But honestly, I can promise you it could possibly change your life forever, like, as it's done mine.
And I think as well with that, I follow and have followed Greg for a long time on Instagram and do check some of his lives that he does. And he's such a well-known person, and I think a lot of people love watching him on TV. And as I said to you before, the amount of people who knew that I was traveling to Lapland in December, he did a show, him visiting Lapland. So many people went, oh, you've got to see the Greg Wallace show. We've just watched Greg Wallace. It was absolutely amazing. So I think that's a really good place to start. Like you said, if you don't visit his website, have a look at him on Instagram and just start to
Yeah.
see a bit more what he's talking about if it's something that interests you. And then the third thing, which you actually linked very nicely to there, Di, was your own Instagram account and
Hmm.
how people can find out more about the food you eat and how you actually approach your plan. So what is your Instagram handle there that people can
So
follow?
I am what_die_eats, Diane Blackmore.
Perfect.
So yeah,
That's great.
come and find me, come and chat with me because I am there. I literally talk to so many different people, just with that bit of advice and that, and yeah, always there to help out.
Amazing. Di, it's been amazing speaking to you today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your
Thank,
very, very busy schedule to come and speak to me and share your journey. And thank you for being our latest weight loss warrior. It's been great to
thank
have you on the
you,
show. Take care of yourself. Thank you very
thank
much.
you, thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye bye now.